It's time for your daily LSU baseball update with Musso at the box. Now, Matt Musso.
And welcome into another edition of Musso at the box. This is what gets the people going. SEC play, it is here. Today we get to preview LSU and Mississippi State to open up the 30-game grind of the Southeastern Conference. This is what we go through all the pre-conference for, all the scrimmages. This is what you play for right here is this stretch. Now all attention really focuses in there. And LSU, I think when many people saw Mississippi State as the opening series on the road in Starkville, you look at what State was coming off of the last two seasons, but especially in 2023. You look at how they started the season this year, you thought, okay, LSU's got a chance to really go in there and dominate. State has started to play a little bit better. They still have a few holes. We're going to tell you about all of them. And plus, LSU owes them from last season. So there should be some revenge on the mind of certain Tigers. There are some new players on the team, but revenge on the mind for certain Tigers as they head over to Starkville and open up the SEC slate against Mississippi State. So we're going to give you our overview of the Bulldogs. We'll go through the pitching matchups. There is a change at the front of the rotation for Mississippi State that we have to get into, and it's an interesting one. So we'll go through, obviously, all of that with our starting pitching matchups, give you key players to watch on the mound and at the plate for State, give you what we're watching for. I'll give you a projected starting lineup for LSU as they enter SEC play, and then, of course, the all-important series prediction. So smash that like button if you have not already. Get subscribed up to the channel if you have not already. Get subscribed up on your favorite podcast app if you have not already. It is all very, very much appreciated. All right, let's dive right in. Overview of Mississippi State. The Bulldogs come into this 13-5 overall in the season. It has been a journey of how they got there. State got off to a very slow start earlier this season before rattling off 9 straight wins to really get into the separation factor there on their record. The 9-game winning streak was ended Tuesday night against South Alabama, but then on Wednesday night, Mississippi State walked off UNO, ultimately to arrive at the 13-5 record. You'll remember they have a new pitching coach in this season. It went very poorly on the mound last year for Mississippi State and in the field, so they bring in a new pitching coach, and that has paid dividends. When you look at Mississippi State, they're sort of the inverse of last year. They're pitching and fielding the ball much better, which really allowed them to get on that winning streak. But the offense, outside of Dakota Jordan, who we will talk plenty about, has dipped for Mississippi State. They were a very veteran lineup last year. They had production really kind of throughout, not so much this year, and it's going to really create a challenge for them there going up against LSU's pitching staff, and likewise for LSU's lineup, which has struggled at times early in this season, going up against what looks like a much improved Mississippi State pitching staff. So there's your overview on the Bulldogs. Let's get into our starting pitching matchups. There is no change for LSU in their rotation, so they will start junior righty Luke Holman on Friday night. Holman will make appearance number 5, start number 5. He is 4-0 with an ERA of 0 in 24 innings pitched. He has walked 4 and struck out 40. The opponent hits just 103 off of the Tiger righty. So here we go. What you've seen through him, what you've seen from him through the first 4 weeks of the season has been incredible. Incredible. He pitched on Friday nights in the SEC last year. He's going to start his season and do it again now this year. How does it look? I really just want to see Luke Holman continue doing what he's doing, continue that efficiency, continue getting deep into ball games, continue using all 3 pitches. You have a lineup that there will be a few holes in. Can he go in there and dominate now on the road, true road environment? The dude, it's going to be rocking with LSU in town. Can Luke Holman go out there and dominate a Mississippi State lineup that has performed subpar up to this point in the season? That's ultimately what you want to see. With what he's done There's not much to improve on. It's just, hey, man, can you sustain it and keep doing what you're doing? He carries in the longest scoreless streak in the country at 24 innings into this ball game. Not going to sit here and tell you he's going to throw a shutout, but can he just continue on the track that he's on and set the tone now for the season? Jay Johnson said whenever they recruited Luke Holman out of the transfer portal, he knew it was a 4-game swing in the SEC standings one way or another. So let's see that put to good use from Luke Holman here this weekend against Mississippi State. For the Bulldogs, this is where the change comes in. Nate Dome, a righty, had been the starter on Friday night at the front of the rotation for Mississippi State and had been very, very good to this point in the season. Was 3-0, had a 1.5 ERA. I mean, he was rolling at the front of their rotation. Really good arm. In his last start, he left the game shaking his arm. Speculate all you want. We've all kind of seen that. You know where your mind goes immediately. He left shaking his arm. He will not make his start this week. Instead, it will be sophomore right-hander Evan Sierry. Sierry is making his 5th appearance so far on the year, 2nd start. Sierry is 0-1 with an ERA of 4.5, 6 innings pitched, no walks, 7 punch-outs, and the opponent is hitting 280 off of Sierry. When you look at him, had some up and down moments last year as a freshman. The first thing I will tell you about him, everything moves. Nothing he throws goes straight. The fastball going to really be in a range 89 to 93. He might run it up there 94, 95 occasionally, but mainly 89, 93 with a lot of movement. The secondary stuff, a lot of movement. What he does, he throws a lot of strikes. That's going to present a very interesting challenge to LSU. He's not going to walk a lot of guys. Just told you. No walks so far on the season for Sierry. I don't know how long you should expect him to go in this ball game. I mean, again, in 4 appearances so far on the year, only 6 innings. So, conventional wisdom there would tell you he won't get deep. So you'll see the bullpen pretty early. But against Sierry, how LSU can work counts will be interesting because he throws so many strikes. The other thing is he has in his career so far, albeit a shorter career, had a propensity to give up the big hit and the home run ball. So LSU, while they're a little like a smidge over 1 homer per game right now, this lineup's got plenty of power packed throughout it. Can LSU maybe potentially take advantage of that aspect of Evan Sierry too? That will be something interesting to watch. But look, y'all, he's a good arm, but this is a step down from where Nate Dome was. I mean, you go from a guy, the ERA is a full 3 runs higher. You're not going to get the length that you would like on a Friday night. Like, LSU should have a massive advantage with Luke Holman going up against Evan Sierry on Friday night in Starkville. That is not a deniable fact. It doesn't mean it's going to go your way, but that is just undeniable. LSU should have a massive advantage right there. When you go to Saturday for LSU, sophomore lefty Gage Jump appearance. It'll be appearance 5, start 4 for Jump. He's 2-0 with an ERA of 0, 13 1/3 innings, just 2 walks, 21 punch-outs, and the opponent's hitting just 131 off of Gage Jump. 133 off of Gage Jump. This is what you've built him up for. We can go run through it one more time for you. First outing, 1 inning, 11 pitches. Next outing, 2 1/3, 52 pitches. Or 56 pitches, somewhere in that range. After that, third outing, get you through 5, 76 pitches. Fourth outing, get you through 5, 87 pitches. Gage Jump should be ready to go. And that's great news for LSU because, as you can see with the numbers that we just went through and all the commentary we've had on him, he has been awesome. You're starting to see him get a little bit more comfortable in the pitches. the secondary stuff, I should say. Saw a few changeups mixed in there in his outing against Xavier. It was really kind of the first time this season you saw that. So just keep trucking along. Again, he should be ready to go into the 90s. Don't quite think they'll stretch him to 100 yet this week, but you get 90 pitches out of Gage Jump. If he can improve the efficiency a little bit, you could be looking at least at another 5 innings, maybe even get him into the 6th for the first time this season. That's what I would love to see from him. And also, on the road for the first time in the SEC in his career. That's going to be big because I'll reiterate it again. The dude is going to be hopping with LSU in town. It just is. State, the program might not be where they want it right now, but they are loyal, one of the most loyal fan bases in the country, second to none, and they will show out for this series. So that's going to be a heck of an atmosphere for Jump to pitch in. He's pitched in a few already, on the mound in front of a big crowd that Saturday night in Houston, but this will be different as it will be partisan to the maroon and the white. But I can't wait to see Gage Jump in that atmosphere. I'm expecting a big, big start from him. For Mississippi State, junior righty Cal Steven. That will be their Saturday guy, It will be appearance 5, start 5. He is 2-1 on the year with an ERA of 3.38, 21 and a third innings pitched. Walked 4, struck out 26. The opponent hits 208 off of Cal Steven. Big stock right-handed arm. He's a transfer in from Purdue. Was Purdue's Friday night starter a year ago. Went 6-2. Started opening day, home opener, conference opener. All the big games they played in, they had him on the bump as a sophomore. And like I said, he performed pretty well. Fastball is going to be low to mid-90s, probably the same thing you'll see from Sierra, about, 90, 93, maybe bump a 94, 95. He's got a nice slider and a curveball that goes along with that. He's been very good this year. He had one bad outing that has really elevated his ERA. That was against Georgia Southern in the second weekend of the season. Since then, or outside of that, I should say, he has been awesome all year long for them on Saturday. So it'll be interesting, again, to see how LSU fares there against Cal Steven. When you move to Sunday, junior righty Thatcher Hurd for LSU. This, of course, will be start 5, appearance 5 for Hurd, 1-1 on the year, coming off his first win, an ERA of 4.76 in 17 innings pitched. Hurd has walked 7 and struck out 26. The opponent is hitting 310 off Thatcher Hurd, and that's one thing we talked about going into his last start. Wanted to see that hit total drop a little bit, or at least scatter them. Hurd pitched himself in and out of trouble great against Xavier. How will he be able to do that now in the SEC? Again, you're not going to be facing a world beater of a lineup right now, but Hurd, it'll definitely be a bigger task. You want to see him be a little bit more efficient, keep taking the steps that he's taken really each week he's come out. I love the confidence that he's pitching with right now, and I think him getting in and out of those jams against Xavier will only give him more confidence going forward. So I'm very excited to see, look, you got a veteran like that who's pitched on the biggest stage that college baseball has to offer going for you on a Sunday with a chance to close that series out. That's going to be a massive advantage for LSU all season long. So there's a few teams in the league that can compete with you there, but that's going to be a massive advantage for LSU all season long, and I love that he's taking a step forward each week. I hope to see that continue. Again, he's full go. You've got the pitch count extended out very, very well. That should not be a problem for Hurd. It's just, can he continue to improve on the execution? Once they've started mixing that curveball in a little bit more, that's really where you've seen it, and I'm excited to watch him pitch in this outing. Oh, excuse me. For Mississippi State on Sunday, sophomore ambidextrous pitcher Jurangelo Singja will be on the bump for State. He is a joy to watch. This will be start 5, appearance 5 for him, 3-0 with an ERA of 2.08, 21 and 2/3 innings pitched, 11 walks, 35 Ks. The opponent hitting just 139 off of Singja. The thing that stands out about him this year, number 1, more confidence. Number 2, improved control from the left side. So if you're unfamiliar with Jurangelo Singja, he can throw with both hands. I mean, he's ambidextrous, and he does it in games. He has a special glove that when a righty's up, he throws left-handed. When a righty's up, he throws righty. When a left-hander comes up, he switches the gloves, switches sides of the rubber, and throws lefty to match up. and he's been pretty effective from each side this year, as you can see by those numbers. From the right side, Sankja's going to be 96, 97 with the fastball. From the left side, 93, 94. There's not much drop off there. It's really special. But I mentioned the improved command from him from the left side. That's massive for him and is what has really led to the improved numbers this year as well. Mississippi State starting rotation has been very, very good. So it's going to be a big test for LSU. Can they work counts? Can they stick to their plan? Can they get into the bullpen early and often? Again, Friday, State will probably help you with that because I don't know how long they're going to let Sierra go. But the rest of the weekend, that's going to be a massive matchup to watch because these guys, Sankja, Steven, they've proven this year that if you let them get into a groove, they can settle in and really go deep into a ball game and make things hard on an opposing offense. So that is going to be massive to watch from the Tiger lineup. Those are your pitching matchups. Let's highlight a few key players to watch for Mississippi State here. Let's start, or I should say, continue on the mound. Brooks Auger, Farmerville, Louisiana native, has really settled into a nice role at the back end of the Mississippi State bullpen. Big righty. Fastball will get up to 96 miles an hour. He's got a wicked little slider and some type of like cutter type pitch as well. 8 appearances, said, leads the team, an ERA of 2, and he also leads the team with the 2 saves. He's been really tough to hit this season, so keep that in mind for him. Tyler Davis, 7 appearances out of the bullpen, second on the team. Left-handed pitcher, fastball be in the low 90s. He's got a wicked little left-handed slider to go along with that. They've liked to use him kind of middle relief in that type of role there. Gavin Black, right-handed reliever, fastball will get up to 95 miles an hour. So it's a pretty big arm there. They've used him for about an inning at a time out of relief, and it's about an ERA of 3.5. He's been very good. Where you can see the issue there is the opponent hits 300 off of him. So he'll be in the zone, which is, a good. I mean, he's only walked 2 so far in the year, so he'll be in the zone. Sometimes the stuff tends to get a little flat, and you can put some swings on Gavin Black. Then there's Cam Schulke. Cam Schulke is tied with Brooks Auger with 8 appearances out of the bullpen. They like to use him more towards the back end as well, but they will extend him a little bit more than Auger. He's got 12 1/3 innings pitched, which leads this Mississippi State bullpen in innings pitched. Strikeout per inning guy. It's kind of the same thing as Gavin Black, though. The average against is elevated. Not really going to walk you too much, but the average against 304, he will be in the zone, and you can take advantage of that. The last guy I want to highlight there is Tyson Harden. Harden, right-handed reliever. They've used him plenty. He's kind of been a midweek starter and or bullpen option. He's never gone deep in the midweek, so they can use him on the weekend. He's second on the team in innings, out of the pen, but remember, starts have factored into that a little bit for him as well. But it's just a guy that they really lean on. Control has been a problem for him. More walks than strikeouts on the year, and an opponent BA of 317. So that's what I'm saying. While you've got some really good arms, like stuff-wise in this State bullpen, we went through Tyler Davis, a 300 average against, Gavin Black, a 300 average against, Cam Schulke, a 300 average against, and then Tyson Harden, a 300 average against, and then Evan Sierra, the guy you're going to see on Friday night, 280. There is opportunity to hit the baseball against this team when you get into the bullpen. So that's going to just be massive for LSU this weekend. Let's flip it over to the offensive side of the ball before we get to what we're watching in a series prediction and a projected lineup. Offensive side of the ball for Mississippi State has been a struggle. There's really just no way around it right there. I mean, you look at it, they're hitting 293. You say, okay, that's not that bad. And no, it's not. But when you actually look at how guys are performing, guys they count on, that's when you get into, okay, I see what you mean when you say they're struggling. The one guy who hasn't been struggling is Dakota Jordan. He's had a great career at Mississippi State, and this year he is one of the top hitters in the SEC and easily their top hitter. 415, which has him, I just closed out of that and didn't want to momentarily. Hold the phone. That's disappointing. And then this website now is just not good. Hold on one second. My apologies there. I believe he's second in the SEC with the four. I want to make sure I have that right and not the and not spreading misinformation. So give me one moment as it loads. Let's see. Scroll. Sorry. He's fifth in the SEC with the 415 average. He is second in the SEC in slugging. He is second in the SEC in home runs. If it wasn't for Charlie Condon setting the world on fire at Georgia again offensively this season, it would be Dakota Jordan leading the conference in just about everything. That's the point I want to get across. 415 average, 9 homers, 28 RBI. The 28 RBI are second in the SEC. He has been their catalyst, their guy. You cannot let Dakota Jordan beat you. He's going to play a great right field too, by the way, but you cannot let that guy beat you. Now, here's where it gets interesting for LSU. The protection for Dakota Jordan has not been great this year, and that's mainly because Hunter Hines is really struggling. Hunter Hines is someone you have to pay attention to, though, because he's still one of the best power hitters in the SEC, even though the numbers don't show it. They just haven't got the production out of him yet. It will happen at some point this year, and you just hope it doesn't happen this weekend against you. He has 1 home run on the year after hitting 22 last year, and he just hit it last week. So keep that in mind. But with him struggling, the protection hasn't really been there for Dakota Jordan, and teams, even in the non-conference, have started to pitch around him. It'll be very curious to see how LSU handles Jordan this weekend, because that opportunity might be there for them to pitch around him and take the bat out of one of the best hitter in the SEC's hands. So that's really where you're seeing the struggles with State's offense. It stems from Hunter Hines and him not being able to really protect or them being able to surround Dakota Jordan with too many, elite bats. Armani Larry's their leadoff hitter, 309 on the year. He's second on the team with 2 homers. That's, again, that shows you they're not going to jump the yard on you right now. And LSU's been very good at keeping the ball in the yard. So that's a positive you have going for you there. Center fielder Connor Hyzak had some at-bats last year, wasn't an everyday player, now is, and he's responded well, hitting 327. So those are really the guys to look for. Everything else, so I mean, you're going to be able to have some holes in this Mississippi State lineup towards the bottom, kind of like you might with LSU this weekend. So it should be a really good matchup, really good battle. You could see some low-scoring games. That's obviously the type of game Mississippi State wants to play with the struggles they've had hitting the baseball. They want it to be low scoring. LSU, if they could get this into a shootout, that's going to favor them tremendously, but you just need more consistency from the Tigers offense there as well. So look, those are the guys to look out for there. The one other thing I will say about Mississippi State's offense, and I want to highlight this. Mississippi State, because they're not jumping the yard on people, because they're struggling, they've moved to small ball a little bit. State leads the SEC right now heading into the first weekend of play in sacrifice bunts at 13. So it's very much a get them on, get them over, get them in approach for Mississippi State. So keeping the leadoff guy in the inning off base is going to be huge for LSU this weekend. Keeping not necessarily Armani Larry, just in any inning, keeping that leadoff guy off base is going to be huge today. Get them on, get them over. Leading the SEC in sack bunts. That's noteworthy because you have a team like Kentucky who actually plays small ball. So just file that away as your kind of starred matchup to watch. LSU versus the leadoff hitter against Mississippi State this weekend. Okay, so I kind of gave you things to watch throughout. So we'll kind of forego the what to watch thing. I've been asked to give a projected starting lineup for LSU in SEC, so we'll run through that here real quick. Order that I think they could line up in and who the guys are. I've given you the guys many times, and that has not changed for me. Here's a way that I think LSU could line it up that's beneficial. And we talked about this after the North Dakota State series, where you got to feel really good about the top 5 in this lineup for LSU right now. So, look, I see it this way potentially. Stephen Milam leading off and obviously playing second base. You're going to have him hit from the left side the majority of the time, and if not, he's a switch hitter. There's something fun to watch. Milam versus Gerangelo Cincha. which side does St. decide to pitch from and which side does Milam decide to hit from. That because you got a switch hitter versus a switch pitcher. That's just going to be funny. So I think Milam, he's been great in the leadoff spot when he's been put there. He's your leading hitter. It just makes a whole bunch of sense. Tommy White hit second. Obviously, play third. I've liked White in the 2-hole an awful lot. And here, I'll give you this prediction, too. I think Tommy White's about to break out. You can feel it coming. Sure, he's off to a slower start. He's hitting .310. But he smoked the ball against North Dakota State and kept getting robbed. I mean, he hit a ball all the way to the center field wall. It got caught. He got robbed in the gaps a couple times, both right center and left center. He hit 4 balls at least over 100 miles an hour in that series against North Dakota State. Tommy White, when those start falling in, he's going to go on a tear, and I think it's about to be soon. So I'll have him hitting second. I think that's a great spot for him, and it allows you to really build protection around him. I'll think they keep Brady Neal in the 3-hole. They had him there against North Dakota State. I liked it. He's your second leading hitter, arguably your hottest hitter right now. I think he catches as well, and you put him there. And I think that's good protection for Tommy White. He has power, and again, he's your second leading hitter. Do you really want to face that guy? It also allows you to alternate left-right, like Jay Johnson likes to do. Hayden Travinski, fourth, DHing. Obvious reasons. I mean, Hato is like the quintessential cleanup guy. Jared Jones behind him just to provide that protection. And then this is the thing. You have to have somebody that got to protect Jared Jones, because when you get into the bottom of the order is where you start to see the drop-off for LSU's offense right now. So I'm going to go with Mac Bingham. Bingham's had 3 really good games in a row. It's got his average back up to 300. He looks like he's seeing it again. He had 4 hits in that series against North Dakota State. I'll put Bingham there behind Jones. Next, I have Pearson. I think, like I've been saying it, y'all, I think I'm going to actually be pretty surprised if Josh Pearson doesn't get the start in right field on Friday night because of the trust factor. We don't have to rehash it over and over again, but it's the same thing like last year. We didn't see Josh Pearson at all throughout the pre-conference, it felt like, and then opening day in the SEC, they're on the road at A&M, and bam, Josh Pearson's in the lineup. Jay Johnson's asked about it after. I trust him. That trust hasn't gone away. That trust has been nothing but rewarded throughout Josh Pearson's career. I think you see him there again, and I've really liked in the scrimmages having him bat behind Bingham or just those two paired together in the lineup. It went well then, so why not have it here? Paxton Kling in the 8-hole. Kling's going to be in there, and he will figure it out. It's just how long will it take? And when you really look at Kling, he was the guy we talked so much about being one of the guys who's uber talented, just needs a little bit more experience. Because think back to last season. Paxton Kling was your opening day right fielder and leadoff hitter. They were going to get him a lot of at-bats last year, and it ultimately just didn't really work out. He hit the skids a little bit right early in conference play and then got hurt. So he's still trying to find his way. And I think early in the season, he did well at it. He's just kind of hit the skids a little bit again, kind of in the same part of the season. Let's see him work through that now. And he's a vacuum in center field, so you have to have him out there. And I think you will see him. Like he's your best defensive center fielder. He's got elite speed on the base paths when he can get there. What I really want to see from him is just the strikeouts cut down right now. Cut down on the strikeouts. Even if you don't get hits, just cut down on the strikeouts. Let me know you're seeing the ball. Your pitch recognition is there a little bit more. And that leaves Michael Braswell, who I think will hit ninth. So there you go. There's my projected lineup. Milam, White, Neal, Travinski, Jones, Bingham, Pearson, Kling, Braswell. There's plenty of potential packed in there. I think you feel great about your top 5. What can you get from 6 through 9 early in conference play while they still kind of figure that out, and you count on your pitching to hold it down for you. That's how I see LSU doing it there. Series prediction, and then we will get out of here. LSU said it earlier in the show. I will reiterate it. They have a massive advantage, or should have a massive advantage on Friday night in this series. You will take Luke Holman over Evan Sierra every single day of the week. Now, that's not to say Evan Sierra isn't going to potentially pitch up to the competition. That could absolutely happen. You've seen guys do that. But how long will they let him go? Told you earlier in the preview, getting into State's bullpen early will be big because there are hits to be had against those relievers. you would think with Sierra only having, hold please, only having 6 innings on the year in 4 appearances, not going to go deep in this game. So they're going to get you into their bullpen voluntarily there. So you have a massive advantage there. I like you behind Luke Holman on Friday night. And that leaves, can you win one of the next 2? And I think LSU can. I'll go 2 out of 3 for the Tigers here. I'll give you one more thing, and a hat tip to Robbie Falk for this. Robbie covers Mississippi State for On 3. He also hosts a Mississippi State baseball podcast, Thunder and Lightning, with Brian Haydad. So if you ever want to check that out and give Robbie a follow and all that, I highly recommend it. He's a great baseball guy. Mississippi State has not beaten LSU in a series at home in some 20 years, which is wild. And I will be honest, that gives me a little bit of pause. And it's absurd because Mississippi State's had great teams, obviously, through that stretch, and LSU's just gone there and beaten them. For some reason, they struggle at home. So with you having a massive advantage on Friday night, and I think you get that one, can you win one of the next 2? Yeah. I'll take LSU 2 out of 3 this weekend. I do think Mississippi State gets 1 because I think one of those starters, either Steven or Sanchez, is going to be able to handcuff LSU's lineup and get deep into the ball game. And I think, just because I don't think LSU's offense is totally there yet. But I think the Tigers do get 2 out of 3, and that'll get you off to a great start in conference play, mainly because I like the advantage that LSU has on the mound, not only in the starting rotation, but also in the bullpen. So I'm excited to see Cade Anderson finally get his opportunity in SEC play. I'm excited to see Fidel Ulloa make a debut in SEC play. Justin Lohr make a debut in SEC play. That's something else to watch. Those guys in LSU's bullpen have been so good. How do they adjust to the SEC in their first time out and it being on the road? So keep that in mind, obviously, as well as one more thing to watch. But the Tigers, I think, get 2 out of 3. You know we're going to have recaps for you live, immediate reaction after the games, and, of course, the giant weekend recap to come for you on Sunday night here on Musso at the Box, at least on to the YouTube audience. So smash the like button, get subscribed up to the YouTube channel, subscribe up on your favorite podcast app. It's all greatly appreciated. Thank you for being here today, and be here next time on Musso at the Box.